Hello friends and welcome to Edupedia World Videos. This is the course Basics of Programming in C Language, and in this particular video we will be learning about the continue statement inside the loops. So continue statement can be used in either for or while or do while loop. So you can use this statement in any of the loops, and this statement helps you to skip the remaining lines of the loop. So suppose a loop has 10 lines and inside the loop you have this continue statement at the fourth line. So what it will do is it will skip the remaining lines and it will again straight away go to the beginning of the loop. Okay, this kind of statement is used when sometimes, depending on certain conditions, you have to skip the execution of the next lines of the loop. So we will learn a practical example which will make it more clear. So let me start a new project, console application, and I will name it, will use a C language, and I will name it as continue dot. Okay, so it is a project, so I will name it as continue. Then leave the rest of the options as default and click finish. Here your new project has been initialized. Open the main file, delete the unwanted statements. We only need to include one header file, which is stdio.h, which is console standard input output.h, used for console input and output functions. And then there is the int main, which is our main function. It returns an integer as a ritual in the C language. That main function has always to return an integer value to the operating system. This statement return 0 signifies that we are returning the 0 at the end of the main function. Okay, 0 means that the function has executed normally. Okay, fine. So let me zoom in into the code. Okay, now what I will do is I will try and use the continue statement inside a for loop, and what our objective would be, our objective of this program would be that to find the sum of multiples of 3 for between 1 and say 10. Okay, so all the multiples of 3 between 1 and 10, we will calculate a sum of these multiples and then we will display that on the screen. Okay, so let us take some initial variables. First of all is the loop counter variable. This will be incremented in every iteration of the loop. Iteration is just one cycle of the loop. Okay, so it will be incremented in every iteration of the loop. Okay, counter, let's just take this count, initialize it to 1 because you have to start a loop from 1, so initialize it to 1. Okay, now inside the for loop, first is initialization. We have already initialized this variable, so you can skip this initialization part also, but let us include it over here. Then we have to check that this should be less than equal to 10 so that we can iterate up till 10. So either you can write less than 11, that will also mean the same thing as less than equal to 10. So both those are same things. Then you have to increment the counter, so count plus plus. Okay, so now our loop outer shell of the loop is complete with our condition and initialization and the operation in place. Okay, so inside the loop what we have to do is first we have to check whether the number is a multiple of 3 or not. Okay, so we will also take another variable which will store the sum of the multiples of 3. So let me name it as sum and initialize it to 0. So if how to check that a number is a multiple of 3 or not, what we will do is we will calculate the number modulus 3. So in case number modulus 3 is 0, that means number is divisible by 3. Okay, so what we have to do is count modulus 3. So if count modulus 3 is equal to 0, so double equal to is our relational operator. Okay, this is different from single equal to. Single equal to is the assignment operator, and if you do it like this, it will cause something known as an error, because here you are trying to initialize 0, you trying to assign 0 to something which is not a variable in C. Okay, so it will straight away throw an error. Otherwise, it will also not work as expected because it is not a comparison operator. Comparison operator is double equal to. Okay, so you have to put a double equal to over here. So if your count mod 3 is 0, that means that count is a multiple of 3, and in that case you have to add count to the sum. So sum plus equal to count. So that is a shorthand for sum equal to sum plus count. So you should learn some shorthands also inside C language that will help you to code faster and neat. So that is the shorthand for sum is equal to sum plus count. Sum plus equal to count. Okay. So now sum will be calculated on this basis. So this is one way of executing our program what we have taken. Okay, we will compare the two ways. So the second way would be using the continue statement, but for the time being let us just compile and let us see if it is working fine or not, and we will also print at every step adding percentage %d which would be replaced by count to the sum. Okay, and here we will write percentage %d's substitute, which is count, which should be substituted over here. Okay, and also put a new line over here. So now let us see if this code works or not. First put a semicolon over here, and okay, it should now compile. Let us save it, and after saving it, let me first close the output window, compile it. Okay, now we will execute it and let us see what is the output. Okay, so adding 3 to sum, adding 6 to sum, adding 9 to sum. Okay, so 3, 6 and 9 all are multiples of 9. Okay, so it is adding the right variables that I want to add. At the end what you should do is you should print the sum now at the end of the loop. So printf the sum of multiples of 3 between 1 and 10 is colon, and then you can print the sum in this line. You have to place a format specifier which is percentage %d, which acts as a format specifier for integer, and then \n is an escape sequence for new line. Okay, fine. So now let us compile and execute this program. So at the end our sum is printed, which is 18. So 3 plus 6 is 9 and 9 plus 9 is 18, and it has worked as expected. But now we want to see the use of continue statement. So it will be slightly different. What we will do is we will change our condition. So in case our number is not a multiple of C, okay, it will not be added to our sum. So this we can move it outside, and in case it is not a multiple of C, what we will do is we will continue. So what does continue mean? Continue means that it will skip the rest of the statements of the loop and it will go to the first statement of the loop. So break, what break does is break will just break you out of the loop, but continue will not break you out of the loop, but for that particular iteration it will skip the execution of the rest of the statements. That means statement number 15 and 16 will not get executed, and it will straight away go to the statement number 9, evaluate the condition. If it is true, it will again come inside the loop. Okay, so let us see if the working is same or not. We have just reversed the condition and placed a continue over here, and we have taken our other statements outside the if condition. Now let us compile the code and run it. Okay, so the output remains exactly the same. Now what is happening is I will show you using the debugger. Okay, let me first apply a breakpoint inside my code over here, and now let us execute it in the debugging mode. Once you see the yellow triangle over here, that means the control has reached over here. Now you have to press next line to go to the next line. Now it is evaluating the condition over here. Now let us check what is the value of count and what is the value of count mod 3. So let us print count. So the value of count is 1, and let us print count modulus of 3. We have to keep this count modulus of 3 in brackets. Okay, so it is also 1. So it is not equal to 0. In that case, it should come to the statement inside this if block. Now let us say what happens. Okay, now it is in the continue statement. Now let's see where does the control go next. Okay, so straight away from continue, it has skipped these two statements and it has gone over here. Now for the next iteration also, since the counts value will remain a non-multiple of 3, it will be 2 in the next iteration. Okay, you can check it by printing it. So if you print count, it is 2 in this iteration also, so it is not a multiple of 3. So it should again go to continue and it should again skip the rest of the instructions. As expected, just skipped the rest of the instructions and gone to the execution of the next iteration of for loop. Okay, this time the counts value would turn out to be 3. Okay, so it will be, you can check it over here. Yes, it is 3. So it will now be a multiple of 3. So now it should not enter the continue statement. Yes, now it has skipped the continue statement and it has come to execute the rest of the loop statements, because now it is on this line. Continue statement was not touched, so these lines will be executed. These statements will be executed one by one, and you have first printed that particular line on the screen. Okay, adding 3 to the sum, and now you will also add 3 to the sum. You can calculate the value of sum. It would be 3 now. Earlier we had initialized it to 0, so now the value of sum is 3. Similarly, your program will keep on executing, and you can see for every multiple of 3, it will actually enter the, it will actually not enter the if block, and it will skip all the other statements, but for multiple of 3, it will execute all these statements. Okay, so similarly it will keep on executing, and if I press this red triangle over here, it will finish my program. It will take the program to the end and end the debugging session. Okay, so now let us, the program is completed its execution, and we have checked that what our output is. So the output is 3, 6 and 9 are added, and the final sum is 18. So this we have verified going line by line how does the continue statement works. Okay, so I hope whatever we taught in this video was understood by you. So thanks for watching Edupedia World videos, and continue to watch the course Basics of Programming in C language.